Listen to me and listen closely. These words are for you alone, not for the masses, not for the crowd, but for you. The one who has been striving, praying, and laboring day after day. Yet despite all this, nothing seems to shift in your favor. You are not lazy. You are not beyond redemption. You are not failing at life. Something has quietly placed a weight upon your progress. And until that weight is lifted, every step will feel like a struggle. You felt it yourself. You prepare with all your heart. You step forward with hope burning in your chest. You can almost touch that breakthrough. And then silence. The opportunity vanishes. The phone never rings. The promise collapses. People fade away. You begin again only to meet the same wall. This is not chance. Patterns are the language of the Spirit, and your life has been speaking a tired, weary story. I need you to grasp something vital. Progress is not just about effort. True progress is movement, and movement happens step by step. If something is interfering with those very steps, your destination will always feel just out of reach. You can pray for the finish line all you want, but if the path itself is tampered with, you will struggle to arrive. This is why you see others moving with seeming ease, while you, with all your dedication, feel held back. That resistance you feel is not your imagination. It is not anxiety. It is real. There is a reason it feels like you're wading through thick mud every time you try to move forward. Life should not be this heavy. When every step drains you, when fatigue sets in before the race even begins, it is a sign that something has attached itself to your journey. This is for you who has been stuck in the same season for far too long. For you who watches others advance while you spin your wheels. For you who possesses genuine talent, faith, and discipline, yet the doors remain shut. This message is not to frighten you, but to bring clarity where prayer alone may have felt unanswered. Many believe spiritual opposition is loud and dramatic. It is not. Most often, it is a quiet whisper, a subtle weight. It hides in ordinary things, in daily objects, in what your hands touch and your feet wear every single day. That's why so many miss it. They look for storms while the interference is in the soil beneath their feet. Pause here. Be brutally honest with yourself. How long have you been walking but not arriving? How long have you been in motion but seeing no distance gained? How long have you been busy but never reaping? These are not accusations. They are wake-up calls from your own life. Nothing about your struggle is random. Your delay has a meaning. When progress is blocked again and again, it's often because the enemy isn't fighting your prayers head on. He is fighting your movement. And movement begins with where you place your feet. What touches the ground with you matters more than you've ever considered. This message found you because the answer is nearer than you think. The problem is not some complex curse. It's about correcting one simple, powerful thing. Once addressed, the flow will return. Your effort will finally meet its match in results. Stay with me, because what you're about to see will change how you view your everyday life. Certain objects carry spiritual significance. Some items attract interference without a sound, and one of the most targeted, most overlooked objects is something you use daily without a second thought. We will expose it. We will restore your movement. We will remove what never belonged to your journey. You will understand why your labor has felt in vain and why that is about to change. Now, listen with your spirit. This is where many miss it. Shoes are not mere accessories. They are not just fashion. Spiritually, they represent your direction, your authority, and your permission to move. That's why in sacred moments, shoes are removed or specifically mentioned. What you walk in determines how you arrive, when you arrive, and what you bring with you. Every significant moment in your life was walked into. Your career, your relationships, your open doors, even your setbacks. Movement is never random. It is either guided, protected, or attacked based on what is connected to your steps. Your shoes are the bridge between you and the ground represents the realms and territories of your life. When your souls touch the earth, they interact with the spiritual atmosphere of where you are going. This is why some places feel instantly hostile and others feel like peace. Shoes absorb the residues of where you've been, and they influence your entry into where you're headed next. Authority is woven into footwear. To give someone shoes was to grant them permission to go. To remove them was an act of surrender. Shoes symbolize your right to step into your destiny. If that right is tampered with, you will feel restricted, even when your desire is a roaring fire. Those who operate in spiritual manipulation understand this deeply. They don't always attack your prayers. They attack your movement. They aim to slow you, confuse your path, keep you walking in circles. If they can interfere with your shoes, they interfere with your journey without ever touching you. This is the root of those heartbreaking near successes. You get so close, then it slips away. It's not a lack of skill. It's because your very path has been compromised. Your shoes carry silent agreements. Where they've been, what they've touched, who has handled them, it all matters. You may have spoken no words, but compromised movement can activate unwanted spiritual bonds. This is why spiritual hygiene is critical. People cleanse their homes, their bodies, their clothes, but they neglect what carries them forward. They anoint their heads but ignore their feet. They pray for open doors but never consider what they're walking in. This teaching isn't to make you live in fear. It's to give you back your power. Awareness restores authority. When you see your shoes as spiritual tools, you stop treating them casually. You become intentional about everything connected to your movement. As you listen, your mind is being opened. You're starting to see that your delay wasn't about a lack of faith or effort. It was about something interfering with your permission to move freely. And when that permission is restored, progress accelerates on its own. Stay with me. Now that you understand the spiritual weight of shoes, we will uncover how dark attachments and negative energy often settle upon them, usually without your knowledge, and why so many remain stuck until this is confronted. You must listen with great attention now, for this explains how the interference slips in. Most think of dark magic as dramatic rituals. It is rarely so. Most spiritual interference is subtle, entering through normal exchanges, through moments you'd never suspect. That is why people are affected without knowing when it happened. One common doorway is gifted shoes. When someone gives you shoes, they are transferring more than leather and lace. They are transferring intention. If the giver harbors jealousy, hidden rivalry, or bitterness, that energy can cling to the gift. Not every giver is evil, but not every heart is clean. This is why some gifts fade heavy from the start. Secondhand shoes are another major access point. Shoes that have walked another's journey carry spiritual residue. You don't know their previous owner's battles, their struggles, their covenants. Wearing them can mean picking up fragments of a burden that was never yours to carry. Borrowed shoes are especially risky spiritually. To borrow shoes is to borrow another's direction, even temporarily. If that person is blocked, confused, or under attack, that condition can transfer onto you. You might feel fine, then after borrowing, feel a sudden fog or heaviness. Shoes left outside for long periods, especially overnight, are vulnerable. Left exposed, they can be touched, marked, or monitored spiritually without your knowledge. You put them on in the morning, unaware something has been attached while you slept. Spiritual attacks often target your unguarded moments. Careless handling is another entry point. When many people touch your shoes, joke with them, or step on them, they can deposit negative energy. Not everyone who smiles at you wishes you well. Some are secretly competing with your destiny. Emotionally heavy seasons also open a door. Shoes worn during times of deep grief, stress, betrayal, or fear can absorb that emotional weight. If spiritual manipulation happens during this vulnerable time, it attaches more easily. That's why some shoes just feel heavy, even if they look new. Then there are shoes that become linked to repeated failure. You wear them to interviews that go nowhere, to meetings that collapse, on trips that disappoint. Over time, these shoes become anchors for a pattern of blocked outcomes, strengthening the cycle unless you break it. Monitoring spirits favor shoes because shoes travel. They move from place to place, carrying information. This is why some people feel spiritually followed or watched without seeing anything. The surveillance isn't always on you. It's on your path. I want you to pause and think. How many shoes in your closet have an unknown history? How many were gifts? How many were worn through a painful season? This isn't to create anxiety, but to spark awareness. Awareness is your power. Now you can see that progress can be blocked without you doing anything wrong. And seeing the source is the first step to taking back control. This is where it gets personal, because the signs do not lie. You may have explained them away for years, but they are messages begging for your attention. When shoes are spiritually interfered with, the first casualty is consistency. You start strong, but something always cuts your momentum before results can solidify. A clear sign is laboring without retention. Money comes but doesn't stay. Opportunities appear but vanish. It's a constant cycle of one step forward, two steps back. This isn't financial mismanagement, it's spiritual instability in your movement. Another sign is the repeated last-minute delay. You reach the final stage, the interview, the approval, the signing, and suddenly everything goes quiet. Promises turn to excuses. Wait becomes never. This pattern, when it repeats, is not natural. Unexplained heaviness is a telltale sign. Not ordinary tiredness, but a soul-deep fatigue when you need to step out for something important. Your mind is ready, but your spirit feels burdened, resistant. It's a sign something is pushing against your steps. Your dreams may reveal this. If you often dream of walking endlessly, losing your shoes, wearing torn shoes, or being barefoot in hostile places, your spirit is communicating a blockage in your movement. Dreams speak in symbols, and shoes are a powerful symbol of your journey. Being consistently overlooked is another signal. You qualify, you apply, you show up, and you're ignored. Others, with less to offer, move ahead. This wound cuts deep. It's not always human favoritism. Sometimes it's a spiritual interference affecting how you are perceived when you arrive. Confusion about direction is a common symptom. You change plans often. You start many things but finish few. You feel a restless uncertainty about where to focus. This isn't a lack of discipline. It's your movement clarity being tampered with. You may feel resistance upon entering anything new. New environments feel uncomfortable, even threatening. New opportunities feel heavy, not exciting. This often points to a contamination you're carrying into new spaces through your very steps. Sometimes the sign is tied to specific shoes. Without realizing it, you may notice that every time you wear a certain pair, something goes wrong. This isn't superstition, it's your spirit recognizing a pattern. Let me say this plainly. These signs do not mean you are weak. They do not mean God has forgotten you. They do not mean your prayers are powerless. They mean something external has tampered with your steps, and that interference can be removed. If you see yourself here, do not panic. Awareness has come first, and correction always follows awareness. You are right on time. Now, we move into action, step by careful step. Stay calm. What you're about to do is simple, intentional, and powerful. There is no need for drama. Restoration requires understanding and faithful action. First, select the right shoes. Don't bring every pair. Choose the ones you wear most for important things: work, interviews, business, travel, places of worship. These are the carriers of your daily movement and most likely to hold interference. Once selected, do not clean them physically yet. We are addressing spiritual attachments first. Take these shoes and place them outside your main door. This act of placing them outside is a symbol of separation, declaring that what doesn't belong to your journey must stay out. Now, prepare the water. Use a bowl of clean water. Add salt. Sea salt is powerful for cleansing, but ordinary salt will work. As you add it, do so slowly and with focus. This is about intention, not quantity. Before you sprinkle, stand still for a moment. This pause is important. It centers your purpose. Then sprinkle the salt water lightly inside each shoe and under its sole. Don't soak them. A light sprinkling is sufficient. We are breaking attachments, not ruining the material. As you sprinkle, speak out clearly. Use your voice with calm authority. Say words like, every evil attachment, every spell, every monitoring spirit attached to my movement and my journey, I command you to be destroyed now. Words give wings to your intention. Silence leaves power dormant. After this, leave the shoes outside overnight. The night represents exposure. While you rest, what was hidden is being dealt with spiritually. Do not bring them in before morning. Do not check on them. Trust the process. Interference loses its grip when exposed. In the morning, before wearing them, take the shoes and knock them together firmly 3 times. This action is not random. It represents breaking silent agreements, disconnecting powers that were never meant to merge with yours. After knocking them, bring the shoes back inside. Don't overanalyze your feelings immediately. Change can be subtle or sudden. What matters is that your movement has been reset, your steps recalibrated. One important instruction, if possible, don't wear these shoes immediately into a high-stress situation. Let your first steps in them be calm, even if it's just a peaceful walk outside. Let your renewed movement begin with intention. Remember this, you are not fighting people, you are not accusing anyone. You are simply powerfully reclaiming what is yours. Your God-given right to move forward. Now that the interference has been addressed, adjust your expectations. Restored movement often feels unfamiliar at first. When a blockage lifts, things begin to flow quietly before the visible evidence comes. Do not dismiss small changes. A newfound peace in decision-making, a sudden clarity in your thoughts, a calm confidence. These are the first signs your steps are being reordered. I speak directly to your movement now. Every hidden agreement attached to your steps is broken. Every delay placed on your journey is lifted. Every invisible wall standing between you and your progress is removed. You are no longer walking under surveillance. You are moving with permission again. You may notice people responding to you differently. Delayed messages will arrive. Silent phones will ring. Opportunities will find you without desperate chasing. When movement is aligned, attraction replaces agonizing struggle. Clarity will return to your direction. Confusion will fade. You'll know what to pursue and what to let go. Distractions will lose their magnetic pull. Restored movement doesn't mean running in all directions. It means walking correctly on your ordained path. You will feel emotionally lighter. The heaviness that accompanied every effort will lessen. Tasks that drained you will feel manageable. This isn't because life got easier, but because the spiritual resistance has been removed. When your movement is clean, your effort finally produces fruit. I declare over you, your wasted effort is redeemed. Time lost to delay is restored through divine acceleration. What took others years will not necessarily take you as long, because correction has happened at your foundation. You are not catching up. You are being strategically repositioned. Be attentive. You may receive invitations, ideas, opportunities that align quickly and peacefully. Do not overanalyze them out of old fear. Discernment is not paralysis. When movement is restored, right opportunities carry a seal of peace, not frantic urgency. Learn to trust that calm alignment. Your steps are now protected. As you move, you will develop a sensitivity to what does not feel right. That is not fear returning. It is discernment being restored. Pay attention to it. It will guide you away from future interference without you living in anxiety. Understand this deeply. This is not magic. This is restoration. You haven't gained something new. You've reclaimed what was always yours. Movement is your natural God-given state. As you move forward, walk with awareness, not suspicion. You are not fragile. You are guided. Now we seal this with wisdom, not fear. Protection isn't about hiding from life. It's about moving through it with holy awareness. Your movement is restored. Now learn to guard it without becoming paranoid. Awareness keeps you free. Fear only builds new prisons. Choose awareness from this day forward. Be intentional about what you accept and what you wear. Not every gift needs to be received. Not every offer requires a yes. You owe no one an explanation for protecting your path. If something feels off in your spirit, you have every right to decline with peace. Discernment is not pride. It is profound respect for the journey you've been given. Be mindful with your shoes going forward. Avoid borrowing them. Be cautious with second-hand pairs. Be wary of letting people handle your footwear carelessly. This isn't about being controlling. It's about establishing spiritual boundaries. Your destiny deserves focused, uncluttered movement. Where you keep your shoes matters. Store them in clean, orderly spaces. Physical disorder can invite spiritual confusion. Order reinforces clarity. This is a critical step with spiritual impact. When your environment supports your journey, your steps remain sure and stable. Do not return to old, careless habits after this correction. Some people cleanse and then reopen the same doors. Correction works best when followed by consistent, intentional living. You don't need to repeat this cleansing often. You need to live deliberately. If you ever sense that old heaviness trying to return, don't panic. Simply pause, reflect, pray. Your renewed awareness will alert you. Early correction prevents major delay. This is how the spiritually mature walk, avoiding repeated battles by maintaining wisdom. Remember this truth. You were never powerless. You were simply uninformed. Information restores authority. Now that you know better, you will move better. Knowledge is not just for understanding, it is for your protection. You are not walking alone. Divine guidance surrounds your every step. You are not exposed, you are covered. You are not blocked, you are aligned. Walk forward with confidence, not arrogance. True confidence springs from alignment, not from noise. If this teaching resonated in your spirit, it is because many are walking under this silent weight, wondering why their lives feel so heavy. Sharing this truth doesn't make you strange, it makes you a lifeline. Someone else's movement may be restored because you had the courage to pass this wisdom on. I leave you with this final truth from Joshua Selman. Wisdom: what carries your feet carries your future. Guard it wisely. Walk gently, but walk confidently. Your steps are no longer delayed. Your journey is no longer interfered with. Move forward. Now, let this truth settle into the very core of your being. The journey you are on is sacred. It was ordained for you before you took your first breath. Every dream placed in your heart, every desire for a better life, every silent prayer in the dark, these are not accidents. They are confirmations of a destiny that awaits your arrival. But a journey, no matter how glorious its destination, must be walked. And the enemy of your soul knows this. He does not need to destroy the dream itself to cause you pain. He simply needs to sabotage the walk, to place thorns in your path, to loosen the stones beneath your feet, to make every mile feel like a marathon run in chains. Think of the most determined walk you've ever taken. Perhaps you were climbing a hill to see a view, or walking toward a loved one. Your will was strong, your body was willing. But what if with every step, your shoes filled with sand? What if the laces kept tangling? What if the soles were slick with oil, causing you to slip? Your intention wouldn't change. Your destination wouldn't move, but your progress would become agony. You would arrive exhausted, battered, and late if you arrived at all. This is the spiritual reality many face. The sand, the tangles, the oil. These are the subtle spiritual interferences attached to the very vessels of your movement. You have been fighting to move while carrying a hidden weight. No wonder you are tired. I want you to visualize your life path for a moment. See it stretching out before you. Now see your own 2 feet ready to walk, but look closer. Are they shod for the journey? Are they protected? Are they clean? Or are they wearing shoes caked with the mud of past disappointments, stained by the tears of old grief, or borrowed from someone else's failed expedition? Every step you take in compromised shoes leaves a compromised imprint. It tells the spiritual realm you are not fully authorized to be here, that you are carrying baggage, that you are uncertain. This is not God's design for you. He designed you to walk with the quiet authority of a king or queen on a royal progress, where His path is made straight because your very presence commands it. The feeling of being stuck is not a permanent state. It is a spiritual symptom. It is the feeling of your God-given momentum meeting an unauthorized resistance. When you understand this, your entire perspective shifts. You stop blaming yourself, your discipline, your faith, your worthiness. You begin to look at the mechanics of your movement. You begin to ask the right questions. What have I been walking in? What has been touching my feet? This is the power of the wisdom you are receiving right now. It is a key. It is not a complicated mystical secret reserved for a few. It is a practical spiritual principle from Joshua Selman wisdom that restores order. God is a God of order. He operates through principles, and the principle of movement is clear. Your foundation must be clean for your journey to be clear. Let's go even deeper. Consider the profound moments in scripture where feet and shoes were central. Moses was told to remove his sandals, for the ground he stood on was holy. It was an act of consecration, of separating the ordinary from the divine, of preparing his vessel to receive a world-altering assignment. Ruth's right to redemption was secured through the symbolic act of a sandal being removed and given. It was a transaction of authority over her destiny. The prodigal son was restored with shoes placed upon his feet, signifying his return to sonship, to the right to walk as a free man in his father's house, not a barefoot slave. And the disciples were instructed to shake the dust off their feet when a place rejected their peace, a powerful act of cleansing their movement from the contamination of hostility. Do you see the pattern? Your feet and what covers them are intimately connected to your spiritual position, your authority, your inheritance, and your purity as you travel. To ignore this is to walk into a spiritual battle unarmed in a critical area. You pray, yes. You fast, ye. You believe, yes. But if you then walk out your door in shoes that are spiritually compromised, it is like praying for protection and then deliberately leaving your front door wide open all night. The prayer is powerful, but the open door invites conflict. So, what do you do with this knowledge? You move from victim to steward. You take tender, deliberate care of your journey. The cleansing we walk through is not a one-time superstitious ritual. It is an act of spiritual stewardship. It is you saying, I am reclaiming every part of my life for my divine purpose, even my steps. After this cleansing, a new season of intentionality begins. Begin to see your shoes as partners in your purpose, not just inert objects. When you purchase a new pair, pause for a moment, hold them, pray over them, dedicate them, speak to them as tools of your journey. Say, you will walk in peace. You will carry me only into places aligned with God's will for me. You are cleansed and covered. This simple act imprints your authority upon them from the very start. Be mindful of your posture when you put them on. Do not rush. As you slide your foot in, be conscious. This is me stepping into my day. This is me walking into my purpose. This is me moving toward my blessings. Let it be a moment of quiet affirmation, a spiritual alignment of your body with your faith. You are literally clothing your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Pay attention to how your shoes feel. If a pair begins to cause unusual discomfort, or if you simply have a growing aversion to wearing them, don't dismiss it. Your spirit may be rejecting the spiritual residue they carry. It is okay to let them go. You are not being wasteful. You are being obedient to the unspoken guidance of the Holy Spirit, who leads you into all truth, even about the objects in your life, and extend this wisdom beyond just shoes. Look at the floor of your home, especially near the entrance. This is where you remove what has traveled with you. Keep it clean. Sweep it regularly, not just for cleanliness, but as a spiritual practice of clearing away any negative spiritual debris you may have inadvertently brought in. You can even pray as you sweep. Every dust of delay, every residue of rejection, I sweep you out of my home and out of my life in Jesus' name. This is the life of a conscious, empowered believer. You are not reacting to spiritual attacks in panic. You are proactively maintaining your spiritual household, your spiritual wardrobe, your spiritual path. You are creating an environment, both physically and spiritually, where blessing can thrive and where obstacles find no place to latch on. The emotional breakthrough in this is profound. For so long, you may have carried a secret shame, a wondering if the problem was you. some hidden flaw, some insufficient faith. That weight is now lifted. You understand the battle was not in your heart, but on your path. And you have been given the tools to clear it. The relief that brings is like breathing pure oxygen after being in a stifling room. It is the freedom to hope again, not with a fragile, desperate hope, but with the solid, confident hope of a warrior who knows how to maintain their armor. So walk on. Walk on with this new lightness. Walk on with this new awareness. The same path that felt like a trudge through a swamp will begin to feel like a cleared trail on a sunny morning. The same opportunities that seem to ghost you will begin to seek you out. The same goals that felt distant will come into clearer view. It's not that the world changed. It's that your movement through it has been sanctified, cleared, and empowered. You are a mover, a shaker, a destiny fulfiller. And now every step you take is a sanctified step. Every mile you cover is a redeemed mile. Every road you travel is under the jurisdiction of heaven because you have taken authority over the very foundation of your journey. This is your time. This is your season of unhindered motion. Feel the wind at your back. It is the wind of divine acceleration. See the path before you. It is the path of purpose. And know deep in your soul that nothing attached to your feet can ever hold you back again. Move forward, beloved. Your walk has just become your worship. And in that worship, you will find that every single step brings you closer to the life you were always meant to live. The interference is over. The alignment has begun. Now go and walk in the fullness of everything that has your name on it. Let this understanding become a river inside you, washing away the last remnants of doubt and frustration. For too long, you've seen your life through the lens of effort alone, believing that if you just pushed harder, ran faster, prayed louder, the walls would finally come down. But a person can push against a mountain with all their strength and see no movement, while another, knowing the secret of the hidden path, walks around it with ease. This is not about working less. It is about working wisely. It is about ensuring that the very instruments of your labor, your will, your hands, and yes, your feet, are operating in full unobstructed partnership with the divine force that sponsors your destiny. Imagine a farmer. He is diligent. He wakes before dawn, his heart full of hope for a harvest. He has the finest seed passed down through generations. He has a fertile field blessed by rain. He works that soil with sweat and prayer. But unknown to him, someone has quietly slipped a poison into the irrigation water. The roots of his young plants drink it in, and though they grow, they are stunted, weak, bearing little fruit. The farmer looks at his struggling field and weeps, wondering if the seed was bad, if the land has turned against him, if God is displeased. He works harder, tending each plant with desperate care. But the problem is not in his effort, his seed, or his land. The problem is in the invisible sustenance feeding the roots. Your journey, your daily movement is that irrigation system. It is what feeds your progress step by step. If the spiritual watering, your shoes, the medium through which you connect to the ground of your endeavors, has been poisoned with interference, then no amount of effort will produce the thriving harvest you envision. This is the deep emotional liberation I want you to grasp. Your tears have not been in vain. Your prayers have not hit a ceiling. They have been collecting like a reservoir, waiting for this moment of clarity, waiting for you to cleanse the channel, so that their power can flow unimpeded into the soil of your life. You are not starting over. You are simply removing the blockage. The dreams that felt deferred are not dead. They have been in a state of suspension, waiting for the atmosphere around you to clear, for the path to be purified, so they can descend and take root in reality. Now, consider the profound intimacy of this. God cares about every single step you take. The Bible says he orders the steps of the righteous. Think about that, not just the giant leaps, not just the final destination, but each individual step. The divine attention is that meticulous, that caring. When you align the practical vessel of your step, your footwear, with that spiritual truth, you create a powerful harmony. You are cooperating with the divine ordering. You are saying, I am attentive, Lord, to every part of the journey you have for me, down to the very soles of my feet. This is the posture of a mature son or daughter, not a frantic servant. It is a posture of trust-filled stewardship. This journey of cleansing and reclaiming is also a journey of forgiveness. Often, the residues we carry are not from malicious spells, but from our own painful past. The steps we took into betrayal, the paths we walked in shame, the roads we traveled in fear. Those memories can attach themselves to the very act of moving forward. As you cleanse your shoes, forgive yourself. Release the old journeys. That woman, that man who walked through that valley of heartbreak, they were doing their best with what they knew. You are not that person anymore. You do not have to carry the spiritual dust of those old roads into your new fields of promise. Knock those shoes together and say, I release the past. I am not defined by where I have been, only by where I am going and who is going with me. And let's talk about the joy of walking clean. There is a childlike delight that wants to return to you. Do you remember as a child the feeling of a new pair of shoes? You felt faster, brighter, ready for adventure. You jumped in puddles just to see them splash, confident they could handle it. That feeling is a shadow of the spiritual reality available to you now. The feeling of being newly fitted for your purpose, of having your steps feel light and sure, of facing puddles of obstacle, not with dread, but with a confident knowledge that you will pass through and not be waterlogged. This is your inheritance, to run and not be weary, to walk and not faint. The not faint part is critical. It means the life is being squeezed out of the journey. You are meant to be energized by your purpose, not depleted by it. As you move forward from this point, your awareness will become your greatest ally. You will start to notice things. You'll walk into a room and sense the atmosphere immediately. You'll meet a person and discern the spirit behind their smile. This is not paranoia. It is the gift of spiritual discernment waking up within you. It is your internal compass being recalibrated. You'll know which opportunities to walk toward and which to politely walk away from. Doors will close, but instead of feeling rejected, you'll feel protected, knowing your steps are being ordered away from a poisoned field and toward fertile ground. This is the practical outworking of walking in wisdom. It is living a life so attuned to the Spirit that even your daily routines become acts of worship and warfare. Tying your laces becomes a declaration. Walking to your car becomes a procession of purpose. Each errand, each meeting, each quiet evening walk is now under the jurisdiction of a reclaimed authority. You are no longer a passive traveler on life's road, buffeted by every wind. You are an active, conscious participant, sanctifying the ground you walk on as you go. So hold your head high. The confusion is lifting. The fog is clearing. The resistance you felt was real, but it was never stronger than the power that lives within you. You have simply learned where it was hiding and you have evicted it. Now, the path is clear. The wind is in your favor. Take a deep breath and feel the anticipation bubbling up, not the anxious anticipation of will it ever happen, but the calm, sure anticipation of knowing that it is happening. The movement has begun. Go now, not with the frantic rush, but with the steady, joyful pace of someone who knows the way home. Your feet are shod with peace. Your path is illuminated with grace. And your every step is a sacred echo of the promise that has always been yours, that you will arrive. And your arrival will be on time, in fullness, and with joy. This is the wisdom of Joshua Selman. This is your truth. Now, walk in it.